Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a free-for-all on the map Hamburger between my viewers, which is of course part of my weekly Twitch TV live streams. If you want to get in on this, you can find my live stream schedule on my Twitch page by going there and then scrolling underneath the video player. Update that about every day. Alright, let's do this. Hamburger is a ridiculous map, which you'll see when the game begins, and of course it's King of the Hill, meaning that the player that holds the center monument when the timer hits 0 wins the game. I'm going to be spectating this game. It's going to contain players of a wide variety of skill levels, which is always entertaining to watch. People tell me that they really enjoy these matches because, well, when it comes to the mixed rated players, anything is possible. You just never know when players could forget, for example, that, you know, it's actually King of the Hill. They might start onagering their own troops. You never know. And that's why people love the unpredictable nature of this. Although, of course, I do recognize that some people as well get a little bit frustrated when they see players make all sorts of mistakes, which is why, as always, I'll still be doing the usual gameplay videos and whatnot in addition to this. I just know that this is a very popular thing that you guys seem to be enjoying. If this is the type of thing that you do enjoy, by the way, I've got a ton of these on my YouTube channel, as well as videos, you know, other videos for Age of Empires 2, other games, and just, you know, tutorials, expert games, gameplay in general. Now, Hamburger is a particularly ridiculous map, and this is one that I had you guys vote on in the Twitch chat with a straw poll. It was either this or Pilgrims, which I think are both equally bad ideas. Hamburger is an awful map. Players are, of course, divided by this delicious palm tree lettuce, which is very high in fiber. Would not recommend actually eating it. And what this means is that since players are divided by these trees, and this is a free-for-all, so no one actually starts on anyone's team, that we get some really unfair map generation. You guys asked for Hamburger, and looks like the map gen has delivered. Gray is the only player in the game, actually, who has access to the center monument immediately. Now, players can actually walk their villagers around the, you know, shoreline, actually, to eventually get into Gray's base, but they're going to have to walk through Gray's base to actually get to the middle, or they're going to have to chop through the center trees. It's going to be ridiculous. Now, before I get too into this match, let me check out every single player and their civilization. So I'm going to go down the list and introduce everybody. It looks like we have D-Tools22 playing as the Red Persians, Wrath playing as the Green Magyars, Coolman playing as the Yellow Italians, Leet Goat playing as the Teal Celts, Mad Rocks playing as the Purple Mongols, Val d'Orange playing as the Orange Teutons, and Naki Padu playing as the Grey Slavs. For the most part, I'm going to be referring to players by their player colors in this game rather than their actual name to try and keep it simple. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is a free-for-all diplomacy game, and this means that players will be able to, you know, forge alliances with each other, you know, they'll be able to form teams at their will. However, only one player will actually be able to win since we're playing a last man standing. So this means that the player that holds the center hill, which right now it's gray, as we can tell by the color of the countdown timer, so Nakiparu holds the center hill. Even if he has teammates, when the timer hits 0, if he's still holding the hill, he's the only one that wins. So these free-for-all games are always full of a ridiculous amount of betrayals, action, and since it's King of the Hill, they're usually just reasonably well paced, and I've been enjoying these. So yeah, I hope that you guys have been having a lot of fun with it too. I love just the unpredictable nature of it. You never know how the match is going to end, and it's very rare that it ends in a predictable fashion. And since it's King of the Hill, you know, even if you're the strongest player in the game, you still have a very high chance of actually losing. It's really anyone's game, because everyone's going to start ganging up on you, and then maybe your score lead isn't actually big enough. So sometimes being one of the weaker players, one of the underdogs, is actually beneficial, because that way players won't gang up on you. They're going to underestimate you, and then suddenly you can come in at the last minute for the kill. Oh my goodness. If we check out this is some interesting spaghetti map gen. I have no idea what's going on here. There's a 1-tile wide path into this relic, which is right near the middle of the map. This is actually ridiculous. One of the gimmicks with Hamburger, by the way, is that if you want to get around I guess the water is the bun? I'm not exactly sure how this works. This is one weird looking Hamburger since we don't have 2 teams. If you have only 2 teams, then it generally looks a little bit better. But yeah, players will be incentivized, of course, to build a transport ship, cross over this narrow river, which of course they can fish if they want to, and there are a lot more trees and other resources on the outer edge of the map. So if players want to survive in this game, they're going to have to make sure that they migrate outward. Now, rest assured, by the way, and I hope that this... You might find this funny, but this is true. Before every single free-for-all match, I always emphasize several times in the lobby that don't forget, guys, you know, it is King of the Hill, so this means that, you know, when the timer hits like 80 to 100 years, you got to move out now, otherwise you're not going to make it in time. Players never make it in time anyway. It looks actually like yellow did manage to kill one of these scouts, but he did lose one of his villagers, so right off the bat, players just trying to walk along the shoreline, get as much scouting information as possible. Looks like green scout might end up getting trapped on this side, yeah, as everyone's going to be palisade walling the little shore area, so players catching onto that pretty quickly. Red does have a dock. He's one of, I believe, 2 players right now with a dock, as Teal does have one as well. So we swap back to the Teal Celts player's perspective. He's at a 21 population right now. One of the really annoying things about playing on a map like Hamburger is watchtowers, of course. Something that dominates, I suppose, the Hamburger metagame, if there is one. Players in the Feudal Age are very much incentivized to actually build watchtowers along this... I guess it's the lettuce, right? Or is this the patty? I'm not really sure. They're incentivized to build watchtowers here to zone their opponent off of their own wood line. And this is really annoying to deal with, because if you build a watchtower right here, this means that Teal will not be able to use this lumber camp anymore, and then he has to walk his villagers somewhere else. And there's no way he can actually kill that watchtower because it's on the other side of this tree line. It's a really obnoxious strategy to deal with, and if your opponent does this to you and you decide that you want to be the Hamburger master, then I recommend, if you see your opponent building a watchtower, maybe you'll have an outpost here, your own tower. If you see him doing that, build your own tower, garrison a bunch of, try to build it faster than him, so commit more villagers to it, garrison a bunch of villagers in your town center, the maximum of 5, and try and use your watchtower arrows to take down your opponent's watchtower from your side. Unless, for some reason, you can actually get some units on the other side over here. Or you could just be the guy to get the first watchtower up. That's another way to do it. So defensive watchtower is a good way to deal with those tower rushes, because otherwise it's not like you can just wall up and prevent your opponent from building a tower over here. I don't know why the game is freezing a lot, but yeah, it's Aoe2 HD right now. Anything is possible. I can't wait for this game to get an update, and whoa! This guy's not reacting well to the lag. This is HD unit pathing in a nutshell. He's trying to take the shortest path out of the trees. Sir, are you okay? Sir! Sir! He's not responding. He's gone cold. That poor scout. Don't know what I'll tell his family. Trapped in an infinite loop. I wonder when Green will notice. Thank you so much, Delta, for the resub. Coming up on that 15-month anniversary. Expression says, while Orange doesn't need ships, he can get straight out of the Hamburger. You are indeed correct, and this is another reason why I don't play on this map too often, but you guys really wanted to see something ridiculous. I usually do ridiculous maps, though, for the free-for-all King of the Hill to kind of mix it up. Yeah, sometimes this happens where, you know, your burger is just a little bit connected to the outer edge of the map. And this gives Orange a colossal advantage, as it doesn't actually need to build a dock to send any villagers out over here and build an economy along the edges of the map. So he does not actually have to do that. And Teal would have access to that too, except he has a palisade wall right here. Now that being said, players should be docking anyway, and Orange is going to do that just to take advantage of the fish, because the thing is if you actually have some fishing ships and a dock in the early game, then it's sort of like having another town center in a way. As the fishing ships are essentially villagers that, you know, can only, you know, gather food, and that allows you to gain actually a huge economy lead in the early game. You invest quite a bit of wood, but it pays off over time, as there's just so much essentially free food in the middle of this river. And the thing is that it's actually very inefficient to use your fishing ships to actually gather from shore fish compared to the deeper sea fish. So like the fish dorado, for example. Basically anything that's not shore fish, you actually gather from very, very efficiently, but otherwise fishing ships gather really slowly from shore fish. Fun fact, villagers gather very quickly from shore fish, but fishing ships do not. Delta says, what if you get to the castle age first and then build a mangonel? That is a good question. So one of the tricks here is that mangonels cannot actually cut through trees, and I think the ability to use onagers to cut through trees here is going to be very important in deciding who wins this game. In the Forgotten and African Kingdoms expansions to Aoe2 HD, the DLC that you can buy on Steam, they did a bunch of balance changes that I really like, and one of them was that you no longer need siege onagers to chop through the trees. You can actually just use regular onagers. Not mangonels, but you can use regular onagers or siege onagers. And this means that every civ but the Huns and the Turks, so, you know, those are the only 2 civs that don't get onagers, can cut through these trees. I think that's going to be instrumental in this game. So if you get to the Castle Age, you can't use a mangonel to chop through this, but once players get to the Imperial Age, they're gonna have to take advantage of that. I'm assuming that if they try and chop through here manually, they're gonna, you know, walk into some ugly castles, towers, you name it. Another lumber camp going down. I'm curious to see which one of these jerks is gonna put down the first tower, and it looks like yellow. Cool, man. Not so cool. Gonna put down a watchtower, but good for purple, actually. He does not have a lumber camp here, so in essence this is more of a defensive watchtower here from yellow. It's basically just going to protect his own wood line and make sure that purple can't build a watchtower here. Or he can try, we'll see if he's in range. Oh, Delta says, I was talking about the tower rush and how to defend against it. Yes, okay, so Delta's talking about how getting to the castle age, you can just make a mangonel and deal with those watchtowers. That is one way to do it. That is definitely one way to do it, but you're going to have to keep repairing that mangonel if you want to be able to take down that watchtower, and it's going to be really annoying, but that's one way to do it for sure. The point is that there's going to be a period in the game, you know, from like the 12 to 18-minute mark, 19-minute mark, where you're just not going to have a mangonel. You're not going to be able to get to the castle age, have a mangonel, and then the watchtower will have done plenty of damage to your economy by then. So we can see here this preemptive watchtower strategy I was talking about is absolutely a necessity here. Cool man putting this down in exactly the right spot. Purple wanted to build a tower here to deny this lumber camp, and it would force so much idle time, but he was not able to because this tower was already here. Every time the villagers get hit, they stop building for a second, and it makes them go idle, and it takes quite a while for them to actually build that watchtower there, and you might actually end up losing a villager, so... Excellent watchtower placement here from Cool Man. We'll keep him alive for another day. He's going to put down another watchtower right here. That was pretty sick. Purple as a stone wall here, which I assume... I do think this is a good idea. I know this seems a little bit ridiculous, but the idea here is that purple is probably eventually going to put a gate down. He knows the players are going to, at some point, you know, use a lumber camp, or they're going to auger their way through these forests, and he wants to make sure that they can't easily get into his own base. That being said, though, they're going to be able to get into his base regardless of this stone walls. They can just auger around it, so I understand his thought process. Most of their economy, though, should probably be along the edges of the map, which none of the players have actually migrated outward to do that. Although it does look like teal and red do have scouts along the edges over there. Now, since alliances are kind of crazy, friend and foe colors don't really help that much here, as players can be allied, you know, one way but not the other. So, for example, teal could be allied with gray, but gray doesn't have to be allied with teal, so it makes it difficult to keep track of all that. But we'll be able to see how alliances come into play as the game drags on. For example, right now, orange is going to be on the same team with purple, teal, and green, so he's got 3 enemies, yellow, red, and gray. But we can expect that to definitely change over time. A lot of military buildings here from green, but I don't think he's in too much danger of getting rushed. If I was green, I would build a dock at some point and consider migrating outward. And aha, so purple here, forward thinker, is going to be our first player to take advantage of a transport ship, and you know, presumably he's going to build a town center here, as he is actually in the castle age. And yes, I do believe that is going to be a town center. Another balance change they made in the Forgotten that is very interesting is actually that players are able to make transport ships in the Dark Age now, and I believe they cost a little bit less. JMS asks, how much do you keep with StarCraft 2? Not that much these days, but I used to be really into it in the Wings of Liberty era. Lucas says, fast into onagers for shock tactics. It's basically going to be something like that. So, Gray has a watchtower here, which honestly I think is kind of pointless. I don't think this watchtower is really going to do anything, as no one actually has access to the center monument besides him, and even if they did, one watchtower is not going to stop them. I do like these two, though. This watchtower in particular going to be really annoying for red. Doesn't even have to kill any villagers, but, you know, that's 100 wood down the drain for that lumber camp. All those villagers have to spend so much time walking, and when they're not gathering anything, they might as well be dead for that, you know, brief period. So it's a lot of economic damage. It's the same principle with the drush. When you're, you know, rushing your opponent with 3 militia, you don't have to kill their villagers necessarily, but forcing them to stop gathering for just a while does a lot of economic damage. It's difficult to quantify, but trust me, it's huge. Now, a lot of players have been asking me for more expert commentaries, and I will be doing them, but hopefully this is also, I guess, you know, close to as entertaining. I know it's a little bit different, but this is still my commentary, even if these aren't actually expert players, but I will be doing some more expert gameplay soon. If you're interested, by the way, I have a bunch of videos and a playlist on my YouTube channel, some African Kingdoms expert games, actually. So we got some of the top players in Aoe2 to play a small little tournament thing for African Kingdoms, so I have a playlist for that. And Robo and I will also be hosting another one of those sometime in the spring, so keep your eyes peeled. Red is also going to be moving out, building a town center on the outer edge of the burger, but his villagers, oh no, can't wade through shallow water. Don't want to get your pant legs wet, and they're going to path all the way around. When will Red tell the rest of his villagers to turn around? It looks like he's only told this one woman, while the rest of them... The hell? Aoe2 unit pathing in a nutshell. Or are those the villagers that were assigned to the lumber camp and they're just trying to chop those trees? Nobody knows. Meanwhile, Purple has this area walled off. He also has this area walled off as well, and And really, everyone needs to start migrating some of their villagers outward. Looks like Green finally does have a dock. Perhaps these spearmen and skirmishers, I understand why he's doing that. He's a little bit paranoid about being rushed, but the way this map is set up, I don't think he's in any danger anytime soon with this wood line keeping him safe. Skeletons for the win says, I want to see a co-op game. At some point, sure, we can do something like that. I think I have one of those on my YouTube channel. Really awesome Budapest game. At this point, you can assume I've done it all, but I'd be happy to do it again. So, fire ship here from yellow. Cool, man. Trying to gain some dominance on the sea. Of course, this will mean that any fishing ships the purple had will not actually be gathering from any fish anymore, but I don't think he actually had really any, so pretty inconsequential at this point. So right now, it's much easier for me to list the players who haven't really migrated onto the outer edge of the map. Cool Man is beginning his voyage, so our Yellow Italians player moving out. I do not believe that Gray actually has any presence on the outer ring of the map yet, and neither does Green, but Green's working on it. Waffle Scatlord says, thank you for all the videos on YouTube, my friends, and I love playing Aoe2 and watch your videos for help. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Waffle Scatlord. Really appreciate it. Lichif Benny says, I want more girls in the matches. No, there's actually plenty of girls in the matches that I have. It's just, you won't always know. You won't always know. Alright, so Red gonna put down his secondary town center. Not too much action right about now, so feel free, if you like, to skip ahead, you know, a couple of minutes if you want to get to the juicy part of the game. As right now, I'm mostly talking about the strategy side of things as we wait for players to inevitably, you know, chop their way towards the center of the map and really get to that fighting. Because they won't be able to do that until they get to the Imperial Age and have onagers, or they're gonna have to be really patient with their chopping. I don't know what the hell this is, but Orange has 2 knights here, I guess protecting this relic from any sort of monk with levitation powers or something. He's gonna pick up the relic and float it over the trees onto his side. I don't exactly know why those knights are there. Maybe they just path there by accident. Either way, these watchtowers being an absolute nuisance to Purple, but Purple wasn't born yesterday. He's going to be like battering rams. Now, he won't be able to battering ram these towers down, but maybe he's going to put them in his transport ship, which he has parked over here, and then he's going to land them over here and then just start battering ramming the piss of the Yellow's base. But I don't think that's going to do anything, though, as Yellow can just pull some villagers off the line, kill those battering rams, take advantage of the fact that battering rams have no melee armor whatsoever, so they even die to villagers. So he's definitely going to have to back this up. Making 3 battering rams this early on in the game is actually a huge blow to your economy, and if he was you know, delaying the battering ram production a little bit, he could have actually built like 2 more town centers, basically. So, Ashuto Lamba says there's balance patch in Voobly and mod for the African Kingdoms features and stability of Voobly. Does it have all the new civilizations? And I would prefer it have exactly the same balance, so it would have a lot of difficulty adjusting to 2 different sets of balance. Thank you so much, Talstraw, for the resub. Really appreciate it. I'm not sure, just a gray bloke, if there are any fixes for the failure to launch error code 41 on the Forgotten expansion. Search for it in the forums, Google it. Unfortunately, I'm not tech support, so I don't really know. What I will say, though, is that you can always verify the integrity of your game cache on Steam. If you don't know how to do that, you can look that up. Or just reinstall the game. Hopefully either of those work, but verifying the integrity of your game cache should fix that. Well, Green gonna escort 2 of his transport ships with a fire galley, which of course is one of the new ships added in African Kingdoms. If you want to see some more information on the African Kingdoms changes and new civilizations, I have a very comprehensive video called How Balanced Are the New Civilizations? And I also have civil reviews for each of the new ones, if you guys want to see a little bit more about that. Slumber Camp over here should probably be a town center at some point, although I don't think he can actually afford that yet. Oh, he can, so he should probably just make that a town center. Oh my god, wait, no, he's still in the Feudal Age. Ah! As I switched perspectives to him, the raw power has frozen the game, but hopefully it does continue. It would break my heart if it went out of sync. Continue game. No one's even lagging. I don't even know what's going on here. Waiting for vote. Gray! 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 Who's back? He's been pegging me with the tower. Alright, continue the game, boys. And Gray's What? What? This is why we play in Aoe2 HD, and this is why we play in Aoe2 HD and not Voobly, because this would never happen on Voobly. Alright, maybe it could, but it's less likely. This is why we watch the free-for-all diplomacy games. How many of you guessed at the start of this game that Gray dies first? Alright, maybe some of you did, but how many of you guessed in this way? That's right, Gray just disconnected. The only player in the entire game who has access to the center monument just DC'd. Skybox Labs has pulled the plugs. He's down for the count. Gray still has control of the center monument. Will he win the game? without actually doing anything? That is the question. Players have 220 years remaining to stop him. Yellow is chopping as fast as he can, but he has to get through 2 watchtowers and a castle, and he has 200 years remaining. And these villagers probably could be a little bit closer to that wood line, so I hope I'm wrong, but my money is on Gray somehow winning this game. So let's do it! Yeah! Come on, Gray, you can win! On to the stream, Jenna. Oh my god. McKay, he can still win because he actually has control of the center monument if the timer hits 0. Cool Man says, the time. 218 years remaining. Gray gonna win it from the grave. He's held it for like 90% of the game. This is the worst guy. Is this the worst or best guy to DC? I'm not really sure. But yeah, Gray's gonna drop. Nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. And yeah, he still holds control. These players, though, they better get with the program and start trying to contest that. Since Gray's no longer in the game, I think it's time to start battering, ramming down these stone walls. I don't actually know why players aren't just grabbing a transport ship, maybe, and just trying to settle in his own base. That would be pretty cute. There's no real defenses along the coastline. You can just bypass these stone walls entirely. Like, I feel like this creates a very false sense of security for players. You can just put a couple villagers in a transport ship and start building in Gray's little base. Set up shop. I mean, I know they have to deal with these watchtowers, they have to deal with this castle, but I don't even think he doesn't have a university, so there's no murder holes here. He has 2 siege workshops, so no university. So without any murder holes, without fletching or anything, I don't think this castle is actually going to be that threatening. Purple's going to put down a stone wall. See, this is the type of stone wall, though, that does make you a lot safer, because then he only has to watch out for the coastline for being raided, as if he puts one on the other side over here, and he's going to carve out a slice of this hamburger pie, I suppose, along the edges of the map, make this his home. Hog this gold mine, hog this stone mine. Give a little bit of area to himself. Green did put down a town center here. This is excellent. I think this one little piece of gold is a little bit oversaturated. He might need to put down a couple extras because, you know, by putting most of your base in the center of the map, you're relatively unsafe. I can tell that Green is probably a little bit new to the game, but I really like how he's playing, and I can't stress this enough. If you don't know what units to build, you should just be building all sorts of units. Build one of everything, because it's much better this way than, you know, accidentally building an army of only skirmishers and then dying to one mangonel shot. If you build an army of just a wide variety of troops, while it might not be the most optimal, it's a lot better, at least in the later stages of the game, than making only one type of unit. In the early game, though, you can get away with making only one type of unit, and generally that's actually the best idea because it's a lot harder to actually counter units in the early game, knights particularly, but as the game drags on and, you know, players they have enough resources to actually upgrade all of their counter units, that making only one type of unit is usually a recipe for disaster. So I really like Green's army comp here. He's just very well balanced. He's got some pikemen, some knights, some skirmishers, some archers. It's actually a very difficult army to deal with here. So just having a little bit of everything, I think will really work in his favor. And right now it looks like Teal has busted his way in. I wonder if he has arson on his long swordsman. He's in here. Greetings, Frederick. Well, Maximus, I want Gray to win, but we'll see. Hodder asks, assuming you build 3 TCs in the Castle Age on a map like this, is it better to build 2 on the center island or 1 on the outside? I would build 2 on the outside, and maybe even 3 on the outside, but at least 2. Well, here comes the long swordsman. I'm not exactly sure if they have arson, but Teal's in here with a bunch of siege weapons. He's ready to move in and claim Gray's base. This map is a geographical nightmare. Yellow's gonna build another lumber camp here. Maybe he should just task more villagers here or try and get to the Imperial Age, because the clock is ticking. 164 years remaining. Yellow literally AFK, asleep at the wheel and winning the game. That's how I like to play Aoe2. Alt-tabbed and resigned. Well, Yellow does have a mangonel here, of course. I think once, you know, Cool Man gets to the Imperial Age, he'll upgrade to Onager and cut through this. Maybe he needs to task more villagers or retask these lumberjacks. This guy not helping the plan at all. Maybe he should be tasked over to some trees that would actually give him access to the middle. Because right now, Teal's moving in. He's putting down his own siege workshop. Look at Teal picking on the dead guy. Thank you so much, Uger Iceman, for the sub. Really appreciate it, my friend. Sherlock Holmes says, is Age of Empires 2 good or bad? This is my favorite game of all time by far. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of other strategy games, and this is my favorite game of all time by far. Aoe2 is amazing. Truly timeless classic. Alright, well, it looks like Yellow is indeed in the Imperial Age. I expect that Onager technology to come any minute now if we swap to his perspective. Harry Yellow's perspective, he's on a team with Teal and Green, so at some point he is going to have to turn on Teal, as Teal's one of the few players who's actually in a position to contest the middle of the map. Yellow is researching the Onager upgrade. Once that's done, he is going to chop his way in there. He's a couple of Genoese crossbowmen, which are actually very strong, underrated units, so I'll have to see how this turns out. Oh, another news, by the way. Prismata recently announced that it is no longer in development hell and is actually going to get like a massive graphic update, so I'm really looking forward to that. A completely revamped new player experience, including an actually awesome in-game tutorial. It's just going to get a huge content update. So I'm really looking forward to that, actually. So Prismata development coming along smoothly. And for those of you who remember the time when I did that Prismata stuff, I would like to revisit it, as Prismata is one of the coolest games I think I've ever showcased. All right, Yellow is going to switch control back to himself. Nice. Yeah, it's basically a RTS game distilled to its purest form. It's sick. So yeah, I might end up doing more of that. If you haven't actually seen my Prismata videos, definitely would encourage you to check them out, as I thought they were particularly interesting. Prismata, a very competitive, fun game, and oh my goodness! By the time Gray disconnected, he did not have a chance to switch to enemy with Teal, so he's going to get betrayed. His castle watchtower's not even going to fight back. Gray's KD in shambles. Sherlock Holmes asks, is Aoe2 HD bad? Currently, it is incredibly bad, but I would recommend playing it anyway, only because I think the new DLC, the Forgotten, and African Kingdoms expansions are really fun. African Kingdoms campaign, really cool. I like the new AI. I just think the new civilizations are really fun and well-designed. This is a great place to play with friends, but it desperately needs an update right now. And fortunately, the developers are working on Age of Mythology, whereas I really feel like they should, I think it's too soon execute this. They should be working on Aoe2, cleaning up the African Kingdoms mess. Hopefully it gets fixed, though, at some point, and the devs actually come back with enough community pressure. I play on it because, again, I find the DLC fun, and after so many years of Aoe2, need something like this to keep it fresh. Well. Yellow does indeed have control of the middle of the map, but look at these Teal champions marching menacingly towards Yellow, and Yellow backs off. What the hell? What kind of friend is this? He's like, you gonna move, son? Sorry, friends. And he just backs off and he cedes control to Teal. What a good teammate. I would have just stood my ground there. It's like, you gonna double cross me, man? You gonna double cross me? Really gonna do that? But I guess Yellow doesn't want to, because Yellow knows he's a much lower score than Teal. And, well, Teal's control of the center monument is at 100 years remaining. These guys better get the Onager technology and chop right now. If anyone is listening to me and they're in this game, or in just time to get the Onager tech, it's time to chop towards the middle. You're running out of time. Running out of time. He's gonna be trebbing this castle over the wall, and this is why Hamburger sucks. So it looks like Yellow is gonna have to chop a hole in the middle of the trees, and meanwhile, this is actually such a great opportunity for Teal. Teal's gonna be able to just completely seize control of this middle area, fortify it, while Yellow has to deal with another more pressing concern. If I was Orange, though, I don't know if I'd be picking this fight. I don't really see the strategic benefit in doing this, because isn't the real threat the center monument? Don't you want to be actually opening up a path to the center monument first to actually win the game? Oh, you could have killed all three of those monks with one blast. Oh, disaster! Ah, at least he actually gets that one mangonel. Alright, well, Yellow does have Genoese Crossman, this anti-cavalry archer. Not a cavalry archer, it's an anti-cavalry archer. The perfect answer to these Cavaliers. Unfortunate. Again, another reason why I'm not really sure why Orange is taking this fight. I feel like they would make natural allies here. You know who's winning the game? Teal's winning the game. 78 years remaining. Why are they fighting each other? Nobody knows. There's no way Orange can take on Yellow. He knows that Yellow is the Italians. What is the Italian unique unit? Genoese Crossmen. If you don't know, open the tech tree and check. So yeah, like with a small army of Cavaliers, you're not going to be able to beat this army. So also he has a lower score, so I don't know why he's picking a fight with a big guy. I would not necessarily do that. Meanwhile, I think Green is still allied with Red, but he's going to get betrayed. I don't exactly know what Red's doing either. I can't tell you how many times I actually remind the players in the lobby that when the clock hits 180 years, it's time to go for the middle. Why are they killing each other? You can actually use trebuchets to chop this. You can actually use trebuchets to chop through the trees. Lumber camp this. Do something. Why are you guys killing each other? Green's not going to win the game. Oh, no. I can't warn them in game. Right, yeah. No, chat doesn't work, but spectators can pause the game, so HD logic. Meanwhile, though, Purple does remember what game mode we're playing. Is he actually on a team with Yellow? I think he is. Wait, no, he's actually not. Yellow and Purple are not in the same team, but Purple actually has Yellow's town center and castle walled in. That's a lot of siege rams. That's really cute. Well, meanwhile, looks like these two guys are going to be killing each other. D-tools, wrong way! Purple, though, going for the middle. I would like to know why Yellow is still sieging this poor guy. It's time to turn on this man. Yellow, make some military units. God damn. Oh, this is why I watch the free-for-all games. They're high stress, man. The adrenaline's pumping. 50 years remaining! All these onagers getting flattened! No one can deal with the Celts' menace! Leetgoat slowly inching his way in! What is everyone doing? The hill... It's always green! It's always fucking green every game! That just gets dogpiled every single free-for-all. Every free-for-all! Green gets dogpiled for no reason! Except I guess that Land Nomad one, maybe he had it coming, but like, still, oh god! Why? He's not the hill! Meanwhile, again, Red completely ignoring the fact that I said in the lobby 5 times that you need to start going for the hill 80 to 100 years remaining. Now, Teal, I also think, misinterpreting what I meant when I said hold the hill. I didn't mean put your units on the hill, I meant around the hill. I don't actually know how he did that, but in typical Aoe2 HD spaghetti, he managed to find a way and mount this onager on the roof. This is what we were talking about with the Feudal Wars mechanics. You can put units on top of walls, like in Stronghold. You put an onager on the roof. Oh, God. Well, it looks like Yellow has actually betrayed Teal, but is that not enough? Seriously, what is everyone doing? Why are there 2 people still allied with Teal? Green and Red! What are you... Red! I don't know how many times I have to emphasize in the lobby, but you guys saw this. You guys saw this! I was pasting that. Speaking of Feudal Wars, though, I don't think it's actually going to get funded on Kickstarter. What the fuck? Actually, this guy is driving over the Wonder. That was just a random idea. I'm actually not necessarily in favor of being able to put units on walls, but they would have gained attack bonuses in that case. Leet Goat with a no-clip. The fuck? What are people what is everyone doing? My commentary has literally become, what the fuck are these guys doing? Teal's like, I haven't even fought. Rat's like, nice job, Red. All you did was kill me. Didn't notice the timer was so low. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in the Twitch chat, it's time. Prepare your what face. Oh my god. Too little, too late, friends. Orange coming in here. Seriously, how does Teal have the no clip? Is this like the ghost monument? I don't understand. Wow. See, I'd upload Aoe more often, but it's really hard to get like quality games. I mean, like, do you guys want me to upload the ones where like sometimes it's not necessarily super close? I mean, I guess it mixes it up, right? If not all of them are really, really close, then in some weird voodoo magic sort of way, it keeps it more exciting because you never know if it's going to be one-sided and really dumb. This is something I'm never sure of, if I should just upload more matches or should only upload the really good ones, because this one was absolute disaster. I don't really know. Thank you for the fail fishes and what faces. What was this? I mean, I disaster! Now, I know that these guys are really new, so I don't want you guys to be too hard on them, so I asked you not to get your panties in a twist when they mess up. Because they're new. But that's why I spend so much time before the lobby. Like, I spent a minute just typing out the... Remember, guys, it's King of the Hill. When it hits 100 years, you go for it. You go for it, you're going to run at a time. Watch the timer, watch the timer, watch the timer. They never watch the timer. Oh. Never watch the timer. Swift rage. Hot damn, Leet Goat with the easiest win of his life. Literally easiest game of his life. Asleep at the wheel wins the game. More AFK than Gray. Congratulations, Leet Goat. Alright, there are 2 things I wanna level with you guys really quickly on the free-for-alls. One, why does Green always gets fucked in these free-for-all games? It is brutal, not safe for work, and Teal wins a lot. And or when Teal wins, it's landslide. The Teal player is always very strong, or usually is very strong. Not always, but he's usually very strong. The Teal one is, and then Green always gets like messed up miserably. Red player always goes for Green, or the wrong guy. GG! Yeah, I could upload just the end hardstyle strategist. I thought my commentary was good. What a waste. What a waste. Yeah, I'll just title the video, "The Worst King of the Hill Game Ever." Aoe2 HD in a nutshell. Gray disconnects, 0 to 43. No units killed, unfortunately for him. And maybe it's a novelty, yeah. The title of the worst King of the Hill game ever. Wow. Well, rest assured, by the way, if you thought this match had the potential to be awesome, then keep in mind that I have plenty of excellent King of the Hill games on my YouTube channel, many of which are incredibly epic and close. Some of which are a little short, some are a little long. They're all on my YouTube page, some even in 2 parts. You know they're good in that case. Welcome for bricks. So make sure that you search my YouTube channel, check the video description for all of that good stuff. And maybe I'll post this as the worst King of the Hill game ever. Hamburger sucks. I think these players would have done a little bit better if it wasn't Hamburger, because then they would have been able to contest the middle a little bit sooner. But I did think they had just barely enough time. I do feel like they did just have enough time. Baron says the title suits. No Hydra Dragon says appropriate. All right. Yeah, people are gonna watch it. Okay, if I post this on YouTube, people are gonna watch this and gonna be like, "That match fucking sucked," and then leave a thumbs down, even though it says the worst King of the Hill game ever. You know, it's like they open the bag, it's a dead bird. I don't know what I expected. Disaster. Well, my analysis here would be that tunnel vision is a thing. There's a timer in the top right. Gotta remember to chop through the middle. The next King of the Hill game will hopefully be a little bit closer. Thought my commentary was pretty good. It's just, actual match turned out to be spaghetti. So congratulations, League Goat, on the easiest win of your life. I admire that. I'll probably post it anyway just for novelty purposes. Oh man, disaster. Leave a thumbs up if this made your blood sugar rise. This match made you salty. Well, thanks so much for watching so far, guys, but stick around. There are 2 more games for the live stream after this, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after the break with some more Age of Empires 2 HD Edition community games. I will be playing in the next 2, as I usually do, and those games should be excellent. So stick around, stay tuned. GG, well played, friends. We'll be right back after the break. See you all shortly. Don't go anywhere. Oh, and as always, I do read all of your comments, even if I don't get a chance to respond to them. As always, I appreciate the support. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.